Welcome
Hi.
to
Yes.
the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
What you got there?
All right. Yeah. Oh, Dad, dude.
Oh, that dude?
Oh, Dad, dude.
Oh, that dude.
I ran out of my energy drinks, and so I ordered some. And this is, I don't know if this is like a discontinued flavor or what, because at the top it still says,
Let me see
it's
it.
Bang. And it still says the Ultra CoQ10, and I don't know if Bang still is allowed to say that because they got sued for that, didn't they?
I don't know. It's possible.
But I don't see Best By date.
That's what you get for getting it off of Amazon.
The Best By date is ineligible. I don't know. I can't read.
We don't do those here.
It's weird. But
It's like McDonald's food. It doesn't go bad.
There's a
It's
chance-
already
Or
there.
it
Yes.
never was good.
there is a chance that this is an expired flavor.
Radioactive.
But it's Bang Energy
Wow.
Sour Ropes.
Sour roast.
Sour ropes?
Yeah, so it's basically nerd ropes.
Sour-
Because
no,
Bang
but-
never gets the
Just sour ropes, though,
yeah.
without the context of it being
That is
candy.
an
Yeah, that does
It
sound
just
rough.
sounds like
Weird.
a really bad gym class.
Well, it's because Bang never got any like official flavors, so they did like the radical skedaddle, which is Skittles.
Right. I like that name.
That one's good. And Bang Sour Ropes.
That is.
And then their sour candies is the warheads. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Bang was going to get sued eventually. It's just, unfortunately, their competitor is the one that won the lawsuit and then bought them. But, all right, here we go.
It occurred to me the other day on the way back from Rapid that I did not make it to Sam's Club to get more rehab. Oh. Big sad. So,
Poor Phil.
Amazon, here I come.
Tastes like sour ropes. Literally, like a few.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Hot cocoa?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
made myself
Yeah.
hot cocoa.
In your Yellowstone mug.
Yeah. It's
Don't leave it down
very
there. That's
big.
nice.
nice.
It's a vibe. Topped with whipped cream, too. I
still,
felt like it would be appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm still
So,
on my Mango
went for a
Loco
theme.
Monster kick. Man, go get yourself a
Oh,
Mango
dude.
Monster.
I should have gone and bought a C4, the frozen whatever one for this episode.
Yeah.
I should have. Dang it. I had these, and so I was like, I haven't
Why?
reviewed them on
That's
the show.
fine, guys. I
But-
followed the theme. You're welcome.
That's true. You did. You're the only
Wow.
one that followed
Yeah,
this time.
yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
Bam. But yeah, it's actually pretty good. It does taste like it expired in 2023, but no, it actually tastes really good.
Yo, that's been 2 years now, or at least like a full year.
I'm pretty
and
sure
a
I
month.
expired in 2023.
I expired in 2016. I left with Harambe.
Oh, ouch.
No, we righted the timeline with the squirrels.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the squirrel and the turtle. So what was it? There was
No,
that
it
dude
was,
that he had a pet
Was
squirrels.
it a raccoon? Was that the other
Yo,
thing?
maybe it was. He had these pets that
Frank.
he had that when they were like
Peanut.
super like
Peanut the
firstborn,
squirrel.
found them and then nurtured them back to life, and they became his pets. And then a neighbor turned them in, and then they full blown squatted,
FBI.
raided his house to get these animals and then put them down
What?
straight up.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
And that was one of those we can.
The internet.
that was one of
Lost
those.
its mind.
We can pull in FBI raids to get pet squirrels because neighbor Karen decided it wasn't cool. But when we have reports of people, the poof diddler and all that, all of a sudden the FBI is
Right.
incompetent to
Took
find
us-
the list
my
and to do
my
anything
thought
with
lately
it.
has been about the clock app and how it was a major thing to take it down and make it inaccessible for everyone.
Oh yeah, and it was down
the
for
short amount of
13
time.
hours or whatever.
And yet we can't do that with children kernels of corn
Took
sites.
us Took
Yeah.
us nearly 20 years
Pizza.
to get Bin Laden,
Pizza.
but a squirrel,
And
a
corn.
pet squirrel,
Yeah.
that's you're not supposed to have. The FBI was like,
Dude,
have
Bin
to
Laden.
take care of.
Okay, Ben, this is way off topic, but when is this
We
show
have
ever
been
not?
on topic yet.
But the Bin Laden stuff, I've been looking into that a little bit. There's like 8 people that claim that they're the ones that actually like that they
Oh,
are
yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
And they have, and each one of them
That they are Bin
has
Laden?
a very specific story of how they muck ducked. And they didn't. They
Do you suppose that's strategic?
executed him. I think so. I think it's intentional. So that way, no one person is a target.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it is intriguing because then if you go to listen to him, like it's crazy. But yeah, there like almost every single person that is alive from that has a story of how they're the one
Yeah.
that took the shot.
I listened to
that
one
took
not
him
that
down.
long ago. I remember
Crazy.
across that interview.
Yeah, there was the one where he's like, his brother was like guarding, and then he had somebody who knew the language say like, "Hey, you're here," and he's like, "What?" And he poked his head over, and then, which is like,
Wow.
what? It was
I
like
think donut operator needs to
such
start
an
using that
elaborate
sound
story.
instead of the
Oh
quacks.
my goodness.
Quacks for justice.
Let's keep the
Oh,
topic
man.
moving before my cocoa starts to taste like
So,
sadness.
why would a frozen C4 and hot cocoa be on topic? What topic would that
well,
be
it'd
related
be on
to?
topic because it was negative 30 degrees last night.
I mean, the wind chill's still not great today
It was cold. My battery's dead and cold and frozen,
in one of our vehicles.
and so unfortunately,
So that's what
my-
we're talking about today.
Yes, my research time
Are
was,
we?
was cut a little cold. It's not a hot topic right now. It's just
Stop it.
I'm going to turn your
a little
mic off.
chilly.
Pull your plug.
In the ancient days of giants, when the earth was wild and free, a creature roamed the valleys, cloaked in mystery. Is he born of angels' blood and man, a Nephilim so tall, or a shadow of the fallen, yet heeding the Maker's call? He's a biblically accurate Bigfoot, with a lineage from the skies. Not a myth or legend, but a truth that never dies. Is he a remnant of the Nephilim, a titan standing tall? Or does he have the word of God upon him, the last to hear the call?
Anyway, it's always funny because we always like reveal our topic to you guys, but like you clicked on the episode.
Right.
I made the picture. You know exactly what we're talking about, but on our end, it's fun to pretend like you don't. And maybe you don't. Maybe you're cool. Maybe you're actually somebody who I like to know, and you go in blind and just
Yeah,
you
maybe
listen to our
they're
show
devoted
because
enough
it's
that they're
ours.
like-
Maybe
Yeah.
the notification comes through and you just
don't need to read it,
the
you just
video and you don't
click.
read. Yeah, just
Yeah, we did run into a BA in the wild on was that Sunday night.
Yeah.
In Alliance, we had a pastors meeting required. It was cool, but I got reelected as our section's presbyter on the first ballot this time.
Yay.
So that was cool by 2/3 majority. So I'm doing something right. And then and then as I was stepping down, one of the other pastors was like, because they
Stepping
asked
down
us-
off the stage.
Yeah, not stepping down from.
You're
Yeah.
like, thanks, guys.
They asked
Okay,
me-
I'm stepping down.
They were like, come up on the stage and share with us. And I was like, I wasn't. I didn't know. You didn't tell me. Okay, hi, I am Tanner. And then and I stepped down, and one of the other pastors was like, you forgot to tell us about your podcast. And I was like, I hate you so much, bud. He's awesome. I don't know if he would want me to share his name. I'm sure he doesn't care, but he's a pastor in our section. He's awesome. He's such cool. We actually share my middle name is his first name. And that sounds like one of those old songs. My middle name is his first name. too.
I'm my own grandpa.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Do you not know that song?
Oh, we're
that's
going
a
to
Ray
show that to you
Stevens
after
special.
the podcast.
Yeah.
That's going to be a fun, awkward 5 minutes.
God.
Anyway,
love
that
Ray
song
Stevens.
is great. You should look it up if you don't know what we're talking about. But anyway, my middle name is his first name. But anyway, he's awesome. And he was both genuinely like giving me a hard time, but also like he appreciates and like respects it. So he was he was giving it a shout out for me. So
our now
cool.
former boss, since then has listened because he was there that night. Has now listened to at least one episode. So hi, if you're still listening.
He commented on Courtney's my statement on
the hand of whose hand was that? Whose arm?
Jude,
the arm of Jude. And I was like, did they not just have fruit baskets? Like, why did they have to gift them an arm? He thought that was a good comment. So.
And the funny thing is, I didn't even catch that joke live. I enjoy the
appreciations.
Yeah, it's funny because like a lot of times when I go to re-listen to an episode to edit it, I'll catch all of Courtney's jokes the second time through because like when I'm talking, I don't listen to people. I'm not a good listener.
You don't say
in general, but like and so she'll do these little quips and it's like so I'm down here cracking up in my office because I heard the joke for the first time re-listening to edit. It's like, man, I wish in the moment I could appreciate those jokes more.
I'm not gonna lie, that makes me feel better about when a joke misses.
No, some like same to yours. There's some that I literally like we miss it. We don't even acknowledge it. Courtney didn't hear it, but your joke, like literally, I'm down here in my office just cracking up listening to this. It's great.
It's probably for the best though, because when you do hear the jokes that I say, you just laugh to yourself, but no one else heard it, and then you take it and you repeat it.
That's true.
And then you get all the laughs for it.
I do that all the time because she'll say a joke really quietly.
This is me finally getting recognized for the comedic genius I am.
That's true. She'll like say a joke like quiet to me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, that joke needs recognition. And she's like, nah. And then I literally will just say it out loud. The whole room's laughing. And I'm looking at Courtney. I'm like, see, you should say it out loud.
Yeah, but like, it looks like you're looking at me like, see, like, look at that. I just got all the clout for your joke.
So a little known fact, I'm actually not funny.
Husband,
I just repeat my wife's jokes.
Make a fanfare of it. Be like, my wife just said the most hilarious thing. Everyone listen. This is what she said.
That would be.
And then I'll feel fulfilled.
People are on to me. Now they'll start to notice I'm only funny when Courtney's around. Oh my gosh. Anyway. But yeah, we saw at that meeting, we saw one of our BAs. And he had taken me up on the... if you listen to the episode and reached out to me,
very end.
Yeah, to the very end, and you reached out to me before Christmas of 2024, I would share an energy drink with you. And so I brought him an energy drink, but it was like 7:00 at night, so he didn't want to drink it.
Yeah, I think.
And so he was like, "We'll share another one. I'll come up to Shatter and visit." Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
He's like, "I'll share it with you in Shatter." And I was like, "That's fair." But yeah, I brought him one. We took a picture, put it in the Discord, and like 2 people liked it, and I was like, bro, why did everybody just skip past? Because they were talking, there was like, in the Discord, if you're not in already, there's like 17 conspiracy theory threads going right now.
Bro.
I can't keep up.
I can't even.
I'm struggling,
dude.
It's popping.
I'm struggling.
I'm always struggling with that, and lately I've just been like, nah. And then I'll be like, oh same. Yeah, I was going to get to that and read that. That was just like earlier today. And I'll look, it was like 4 days ago, and I'm like, my gosh.
I still haven't gone back to figure out what Red was talking about with the RH blood stuff,
the Nephilim blood,
blood, and I'm like, that looks really intriguing. I just gotta
take a day and just go through all of it and just like see what's there to be talked about on another episode, because there's a lot.
Real. There is.
You guys are awesome for that.
Yeah, because you guys are keeping it like this. This episode was inspired by the thread a couple weeks ago. I think somebody brought it up and was like, "You should look at this," and I was like, "I'll do some deep diving," and I did some deep diving, and then got really frustrated and quit. But the topic is so intriguing, I was like, "We got to do it."
Yeah.
I also. As far as like running into Days in the Wild, I was also amazed at how many people it commissioned came up and were like, "Hey, dude, enjoyed your podcast." So that was dope.
Yeah.
Hello, Kyle, for people.
Really?
Yeah, Kyle, like in the elevator, they're like,
I was sick in a hotel room the whole time, so I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, like.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So
yeah,
I've been looking at the analytics a little bit, just because like I enjoy looking at weird things like that. And when we first started the podcast, almost exclusively all of our listeners came from Nebraska or the surrounding states, and it was like 80%, and so 80% of our listeners were friends, like locals, people who knew us personally, that kind of thing. but now it's down to like 30% are from Nebraska and 70% are from all over everywhere else. Like we got quite a few. I don't know if you're our listener from Singapore, message me.
Singapore,
dude. We got. Let me. Okay, so I pulled it up because this intrigues me. If you we actually have a few listeners from Colombia, the United Kingdom, Russia, Trinidad and Tobago. Which Trinidad and Tobago is cool because I actually have done like whenever you have to do a country to do a presentation on in life, like when you were little kids and like in college and stuff, and you take like
happens all the time.
Yeah, in college. You don't have to do presentations. But anyway, in college I had a geopolitical class that I always pick Trinidad and Tobago because nobody ever thinks of it, and so you can always get the one that you want, and I always do it. So okay, partly
Djibouti.
because
I like Djibouti.
Oh my gosh.
I like Trinidad and Tobago because it's kind of a cool name, kind of like, but not awkward like yours. But
that's why I love it.
Then eventually it got to the point where I just kept picking it because I knew the country well enough that it's like actually makes the presentations easy because I already know the information. But anyway, we have listeners from Trinidad and Tobago, Australia, Romania. And that's just like this week.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Hello,
all time.
all you lovely people.
Yeah, Canada,
Pop in,
Singapore,
comment, say
Italy,
hi, say where you're from.
Albania, the Côte d'Ivoire, Ecuador, New Zealand, Namibia, Netherlands. We're literally global, guys.
That's dope.
Guys, we're global.
Wow.
But there was one country I don't see.
France!
Antarctica. Actually, France is on here too.
Antarctica is a continent.
We have a listener from France as well. Croatia.
Do you get the reference?
What?
The pageant.
Oh yeah.
where she's like, France. Yeah.
And they're like, it's the. Do you?
Not making fun of France.
It's the Miss World pageant or whatever, and they're all saying where they're from. They're like Argentina, Canada, Colombia, and then France. She goes France.
That tracks.
It's hilarious.
That's amazing.
It's got the passion there. I love it.
I'm gonna have to find that
Very
one.
passionate.
And her
people.
voice like squeaks or whatever. Anyway,
Fantastic. So, what country? What country was it that we don't have?
Antarctica. Do you say Antarctica or Antarctica?
I say Antarctica.
Antarctica.
I don't.
Antarctica.
I don't enunciate any
while
of it.
doing research, I realized that there's two pronunciations. There's Antarctica and Antarctica. Antarctica.
Yeah, which is correct. Antarctica.
That is obnoxious.
Yes, it is.
If you pronounce that correctly in front of me,
Antarctica?
I will snatch the energy drink back out of your hand
Antarctica?
and
Throw it in
hit
your
you with
face.
it.
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Antarctica.
Yeah. I've struggled
Antarctica.
spelling it because
Too many
in my head
syllables.
a lot of times it's Antarctica.
Well, just like croissant is the right way to say croissant, but I'm not going to do
Croissant?
that.
Everyone's going to
because
tell you still said it wrong.
I don't get
Croissant.
That wasn't right.
Go back to France.
Also,
France.
so,
Go back to France.
the ones who will correct you on it have never been there and lived there in the first place. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're probably pronouncing it wrong too.
It's Antarctica.
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 Yeah.
Antarctica.
Anyway, we're talking about Antarctica. And Antarctica.
And related things.
I'm going to annoy myself saying Antarctica.
Don't do it.
Okay, so to get
It's like me a few weeks ago with Appalachia.
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 Do you guys follow that dude from Britain that he's like, this is like Josh from Britain or Josh Travels America as his two handles. He's a dude from, I think he's from Britain, and he's basically spent a lot of time in America, and he has these, that's the thing, he has these like, he started making like pro-American content because he's visited and he loves it.
Is he the one that was talking about how freaking big Americans?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And now that he's gone back home, he like is traveling all over because he's like 3 hours is not very far.
Yeah.
I've traveled 15 hours and I didn't leave the state of Texas.
Hey,
Yeah,
Europeans,
that
if
guy.
you wonder why America thinks it's such a big deal, we can literally change your perception of space-time if you just come hang out here for a while.
Yeah.
So, take that.
Guys, we almost made it
worlders.
to the topic. We almost made it.
And the funny thing is that I got distracted because I don't even remember why I brought up Josh from Britain.
Dude, he'd be blown away by
I
Antarctica.
remember because he came and he was asking his followers how to pronounce that because he kept saying Appalachian.
Yeah.
Like how I used to pronounce it. The Appalachian.
That's how
I will
say it.
continue.
And he was getting roasted in the comments because it's Appalachian.
Well.
Appalachian. Because that's how people from there pronounce it. But anyway, have you
Yes,
seen
who
the things
cares?
about
Nobody.
the old continents? Like, like as Pangea was being formed. Yeah, you mentioned it on the show.
You said soup.
Anyway, soup.
It's just like the soup.
Okay, so on topic. Let's get to the show. I'm sorry.
There's a long intro.
Bro, I'm just going to assume this energy drink is expired and it is affecting my brain because all of a sudden
great.
I am full blown like hyper.
Well, I'm the one who gets to take care of that afterwards, so nice.
Anyway.
What was that?
I don't know.
Showtime, Antarctica. Don't do it. I know what you're gonna do. Don't.
Anyway.
Okay, so it's Antarctica, but
Yes.
the stuff that's been popping up that we've seen also has to do with flat Earth theory,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Which I, out of pure annoyance, have not looked into
Flat Earth.
stuff.
I've looked into Flat Earth a lot for
Sure.
the kicks and giggles of it, not because I take it seriously.
for the devil's advocates. Well, not devil's
That's curious.
advocates,
Yeah.
just
History.
to argue against it.
Of it.
Yeah, we were gonna do a Flat Earth episode where I played the devil's advocate.
Smile.
The devil did.
Look at me and smile.
Have you seen that?
Both
clip?
sides.
He's like,
burnt toast.
anyway, I will.
Stop dropping references.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't
Yeah.
understand.
Okay, I can't. Okay,
Alabama lands.
it's so hard.
We're not even on topic, and my giant
know.
mug of cocoa is almost gone.
It's so hard to like get like
can
have
see
a
the
reference, share the reference, but then not tell about the reference, and just because nobody got it and you just had to move on, it's really difficult for me to do today. Just letting you know. Anyway, so I was going to do the devil's advocate and share about flat Earth and argue the argument of the flat Earth and what like their side of it, because they do have some interesting thoughts. But the problem with the flat Earth is that simple scientific
I can
experiments
debunk it.
It makes sense.
Here.
There was a pastor from Denver who just recently took a team because he's getting sick of the flat Earth things. He took a team of flat earthers up to Alaska during the like permanent sun thing.
And left them there.
And well, he stayed with them too. He should have just left them there. That would have been the proper response. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
because they got to come back and tell their idiot
Yeah,
friends.
exactly.
I'm
You got to
sorry,
bring them
I mean,
back.
yes, I did.
So they go up there to observe the 24 plus hours of sunlight because it hits that point during the
I'm sorry, 24 plus?
summer. Yeah, multiple like because it's
Yeah,
like
I
3
underst-
months. So it'd be.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do the math to figure out what 25 times
Okay, but like
90 is. What's 25 times? What's 24 times 90? I said
I
25.
don't care. Well, I mean,
Exactly.
I can
So it'd
figure
be
that out very
24
quickly,
plus
but
hours.
That's not
Math.
24 plus hours of daylight. More than one day. But that's what
Multiple
disproves
days
it
of
because their theory
I
is that
understand.
per day, the sun makes a full rotation around.
I understand how
Yeah.
it works. I was questioning your decision to go with 24 hours plus because it makes it sound like there's more than 24 hours in a day. It's all day for many days. It's many days of just sunlight.
Your linguistical comprehension is that of a 10-year-old. Why are you guys glaring at me?
Because that was a dumb...
I understand what he's saying. He's making a joke.
Is a bad joke.
Says
Your
you.
face is a bad joke.
That is true.
I feel attacked. You don't get bang anymore. You are restricted.
Oh my gosh.
You just shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Pop a blood vessel.
Oh my gosh. The hard part of this is gonna When I'm editing this, I'm gonna have to decide whether I want to keep
this gotta
30
stay.
seconds of
That
laughing
stays.
in or not.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I thought Courtney was going to take a genuine spit take. Like she almost, if she didn't have the mug up to her mouth, that was going everywhere.
I don't need to explain myself, do I?
No.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, my stomach hurts. That was amazing.
Oh my gosh. And we're back.
Like we never left.
Our last couple episodes, we haven't had big, huge laughing breakdowns like we usually do.
Oh, that was amazing.
Well, baby boy in my stomach is like thinking of finding another place to live. So,
Wow. Okay.
What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Flat Earth. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
took him up
anyway,
to Alaska.
yeah.
Pastor took him up to Alaska
And
to
did
experience the season. Where there's
multiple
24
days
hours,
of
multiple
The
sunlight,
many
yeah.
days of sunlight continuous.
And the dudes were like, well,
drink this drink of hot cocoa for the second time now.
yes. But and the flat earther basically didn't even say he was wrong. He was just like, well, I don't know how to explain this. And that's all
Sounds
he would say.
you.
He's like,
Sounds like you when you're presented with the fact that you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna just let that one marinate. I don't care.
That's fine.
I'm not gonna take that one away. That one can just sit.
I mean, that's it though. Yeah.
oh, man.
Okay, so
Because, yeah.
I
I mean, where do we want to jump
but-
in first?
Yeah.
here's a question I want to ask you, flat earther. Okay, have you ever just got on Google Earth and just scrolled all the way around the world? Have you noticed anything about that? Like the fact that everything is where it should. We have satellite images of the entire world,
Well,
all the way around.
but their argument would be that actually legit. Okay, I'm not even playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
I was looking at some of the satellite images the other day. There is very clearly AI in there. There's one point where it screws up and you're scrolling the globe and you're looking at the actual, and it says, according to the site, you are looking at actual satellite imagery. And there's a spot where it kind of, you looking at near where the North Pole is, and there's a 90-degree like chunk taken out of it. And it's like, then it's like molded over, like smoothed over by AI. It looks like AI smoothed it over to try to make it look coherent.
I need you to show me this.
You mean
Oh,
cohesive?
cohesive, yes. And, make it
You
look
have the
cohesive.
linguistic capabilities of an 8-year-old,
I do.
Huh.
It's only slightly worse than yours.
but it's worse than mine.
Yeah.
Moving
Okay, I'm good with that. I can live with that.
But anyway, and it's very clearly doctored. Like it's very clearly.
That's weird.
And
I need to see this.
well, and then you have the spacewalk where the mouse is running across the thing. Do you guys see that one?
No. Describe.
So there's this outside video of them doing a spacewalk to fix something, and a flipping mouse
Like the cursor.
literally just goes no, a animal mouse.
Wait, what? Oh, you're
An
talking.
actual living mouse goes running up one of the rods across the screen.
Out
In
in
space?
space.
Yes,
Well, that's not a good
dead
look.
serious.
See,
We're gonna
I just
have
had
to
this
do a moon
described. I
landing
didn't actually see this
episode now,
video.
aren't we?
Someone
Yeah.
described this to me. That's
A
not what I
literal actual
understood.
mouse. And then and I am not a flat earther. Okay, I will admit, like, I'm not a flat earther, but some of that stuff is sketchy. Like, have you seen the pictures of the it's Google Earth pictures, but you can go to I want to say it's like the Red Sand National Park or something like that in Canada. And if you find there's this spot that's a little bit remote, it's literally got NASA bases there. And some of the images look very similar to the images that they've pulled from Mars. Like the background, like the mountains in the background are like identical. And it's, okay, again, I'm not of the belief that like there is a literal like water firmament thing that flat earthers believe in or anything like that. I don't agree with that. But I will acknowledge that there is enough sketchy stuff that NASA has put out that I cannot trust NASA as a person.
Or is that surprising considering
NASA's
the
not a
percentage
person.
of them that are former Nazguls?
Yeah, for real though. There's a lot of them.
Okay.
What term are we?
Nazgul.
Yeah, we did Nazguls, and then what was the other one that was made it a little more the
Nazgul's talking about the mustache.
mustache men, the mustache man from
See,
Germany.
I thought you were playing off of NASA and calling them Nazguls.
Yeah,
no,
the people
short memory.
from Germany. Yeah, there was a lot
I
of them.
should
there were.
remember that because it's just a Lord of the Rings reference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a lot of them that were. But also, not only that, but like the sheer amount of money that you could spend on alternative projects if you were to just fake this stuff rather than actually do it. The amount of money that they would pocket in order to spend on, let's say, black book projects, that's a lot of money.
yeah.
That's, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, but you use the term something about water in a firmament.
yes.
Okay, explain that to me because I just saw that on a video and people were commenting, "It's the firmament," and I was like, I don't have time to look up what that is.
Just before we move on to that, NASA's budget for the fiscal year of 2025 is $25.4 billion. That's a lot of black book projects.
worry,
If you
it'll
take,
all get sent to
Billions and
Ukraine.
billions.
if you took $1 billion,
Billions and billions.
yes, President Trump.
Yep.
If you took $1 billion, or let's say $5 billion of that, that's $20 billion you can spend on black book projects that it would not, because it would be accounted for on NASA budgets. But anyway,
Nice.
the waters above. So in Genesis, I think it's 1:6, it talks about when God's creating the earth,
And
he
we've
created.
talked about the foundations of the deep or whatever.
Yeah, he says that he created the waters,
fountains. Yeah.
the waters to separate the waters. And it says the waters above and the waters below. So people who are flat earthers believe that there's a firmament, and it does say that there's a firmament, but they believe that what the firmament is to separate the water from above earth from and then the water below would be the ocean earth. My thought process is maybe that is the ocean, and then the water below is the water that came up during the flood.
That's what the video that popped up when he said
But-
that it's like it's the where the fountains sprang up during
Yeah.
the flood and stuff, which I think
But-
Phil actually was talking about, like the
Yeah.
deeper
Yeah.
waters
Yeah.
and stuff,
But
and like
when-
that's where the
Flood.
the
Came
the beast.
Oh,
What
the
am I not thinking?
Leviathan and stuff like that.
Leviathan and stuff will come from.
Yeah.
But-
Oh yeah. But yeah, but flat earthers believe that when the flood happened, that God opened up the firmament and released water from above, and then something like that. And the argument is, have you ever looked at when you get a picture of a star or a video of a star from NASA, that's not what it actually looks like. Confirmed fact. This isn't conspiracy.
Yeah.
They use technology, and either they recreate it or they use AI now to doctor what they think it looks like. But zoomed in on the actual telescope, what it looks like is the same as when you look at like a light underwater, and it's all ripply and warped. Now, have you been watching the videos of the orbs?
Yeah.
That's what a
Dior
star.
bags.
Yeah, the Dior bags. The ones that are the plasma orbs. When you look at the stars actually zoomed in close, and they record it, that's actually more what it looks like is those plasma orbs. It's not a clear image, and so it's the warped. And so flat earthers argue that that's because that water above is warping the image of whatever it is that is above. In theory, cool. But and then they also argue that like all of the satellites we see are below the firmament and not actually out in outer space.
Okay.
Which, to be fair,
I-
if you've ever seen an airplane in the sky, and if you've ever seen a satellite pass by, it doesn't look like there's that much distance between them. And also, there's that dude that rode the Red Bull plane to the edge of outer space and then dropped.
I just had a video pop up of that like a few hours ago.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
I'm getting creeped
That's
out
kinda
now.
crazy.
This is nuts.
But yeah, and that dude was very clearly not in outer space, and because he still had gravity.
Yeah.
And that's But anyway, And the reason, and there's videos of like rockets, like when they drop their the payloads or the stages, that they have that like weird warped look to them because they kind of like when they drop them, and they say that warped look is them hitting the firmament and exploding. And
do you
it's
think
like,
that's why Elon's rocket blew up, because it hit the firmament?
That's their argument, is the ones that blow up is because they still have not been able to puncture the firmament or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not saying I believe
this.
this.
Was a part of it.
I'm just saying that's the belief.
Interesting.
But in like that,
well, I'm already learning because I didn't know that this was a part of that.
there was the NASA scientist or the NASA astronaut that almost drowned in outer space. And
What?
so the official story is that he had maybe that it's like a water cooled or water heated part of his suit broke, and the water pooled up next to his face, and when he's out and you're out in outer space, you can't pull your helmet off.
Yeah.
And so he almost drowned because the water pooled and collected near his head.
That actually makes sense.
But that sounds weird when you say an astronaut almost drowned in his suit.
Without context.
Right. And so but when you think
wild.
and so people would argue because they do have that
now.
like there is the actual factual underwater, it's like the world's deepest pool, and they train for their moonwalks and stuff before they go into outer space in there
water. Yeah.
And they're saying that their theory is that all of the videos they take are just them underwater in that thing, and then when he almost drowned, it was because his visor cracked and he almost actually drowned or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now all of their suits have to come with anti-drowning technology. It sounds so weird, but yeah, all of that, and it's all based off of a few pieces of scripture, and so they kind of create the world of it. But
wait, so we're just talking about specifically Christian flat earthers, right? Are there flat earthers that are exclusively not Christian?
That I don't know. Most of the people I've ran into who are flat earthers claim that they're Christian.
I never knew that either.
But the people who, I don't know if they all are Christian, but the ones that I've ran into have been Christian.
Gotcha.
And it's based off of scripture, but again, it's kind of a weird warping of the scripture in a way that it wasn't its intended purpose.
Like you're viewing it through water?
Yeah, exactly. But now you combine, for real though, but if you combine that with the weird stuff with NASA, the weird facts, you get this conspiracy theory, and it's
government distrust.
Right. And there's enough real conspiracy theory, plausible. There's enough plausible conspiracy theory that makes even me, I'm like, why was there a mouse running? Like, was he a stowaway? How does that happen? And it's clear as day. You can see it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I'm not saying somebody told me that, like, I've seen it. That makes me go, that's weird. Why are you doing that? Now, flat earthers are like, because of the fact that NASA is lying and doing this stuff, therefore they must be lying about the earth being a globe.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because if someone lies one time, then everything they ever say is false, right? Mm-hmm. That's how that works.
Yep.
Exactly. But I can
judging people by extremes is working out very well for our country right now.
Okay, and I might have people judge me, but having given people who are flat earthers a legitimate chance to defend themselves, I can see where they got their logic. I just don't agree, and I would refute them with my own logic that I feel like is more definitive proof than they can provide, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hence that pastor funding that exploration. Yeah. But the problem is flat earthers will always go back to, because we hold scripture to the standard that, well, because of this Bible verse that I have misrepresented or misinterpreted, therefore it is this.
Or they're the only ones who have the special interpretation of it.
Yeah. And I just can't agree. I don't agree. But I also, like I said, I can understand where they came from. And so like if you're a flat earther listening to this, honestly, I can respect how you got to the belief that you have. I just would love to have a conversation with you so that I could share where I got to where I believe.
And make sure everything's going okay at home. Sorry, that was a joke.
Ooh.
It was a joke.
Who's throwing punches today? You got to sip that cocoa if you're going to throw punches like that. You got to pretend to sip that cookie. But yeah, so the flat earthers. And so speaking of conspiracy theories that we can or cannot necessarily, I guess we can't prove that one's not false. That was a terrible segue. But anyway, I was looking up, part of what I wanted to share today about Antarctica was the Buzz Aldrin conspiracy. Have you heard that much about that?
I didn't even know Buzz Aldrin had any sort of like history with Antarctica. So
Buzz Aldrin's gone down to Antarctica a couple times. And a couple years ago, he went down to Antarctica, and he, from my recollection, okay, how I remembered this story, and I feel like I can remember, maybe this is a Mandela effect. We do have to do an episode on Mandela effects.
Yes, thank you again to one of our devoted listeners who put the idea out there. So,
but I remember it being on like national news that he had a heart attack and he had to be rushed away from Antarctica. And he recovered in Christchurch, New Zealand. And before he had his heart attack, he posted a tweet that basically said, we came down here and we looked face, and I can't remember the exact quote, but it was basically like, we looked face to face with evil and mankind is not ready for this yet.
Oh.
And then it's short, like it was like 15, 20 minutes later is when the distress call came out that he had a heart attack. So then I remember, and my memory is that even the mainstream news was presenting it as though, well, he just posted a weird tweet because he was having a heart attack. Because like when you're getting ready to have a heart attack, they actually, it's a known observable response is you have this extreme paranoia before you have a heart attack or a stroke. It's like actually a symptom. Legit? It's a symptom of a heart attack is all of a sudden you have this just, I'm so afraid. I'm like this just dread, just overwhelming dread, paranoia feeling. And the theory is that it's your body telling you need to get help right away because this is happening. And so right before or like right after, I don't remember if it's before, during, or after a heart attack or a stroke, but you do have that. And so the news was like theorizing that he just had a weird, reaction and that was just a heart attack speaking. And so once he was like calmed down and in the helicopter, he deleted his tweet or whatever. I don't know.
Or something almost terrified him to death.
And then the conspiracy theory is that they actually went down there, found what they were looking for, and we'll get into a little bit later about Admiral Byrd. And but they were theorizing that he was going down to look for the same thing that Admiral Byrd was looking for, that Admiral Byrd had supposedly found, and it was demonic or something like that, or heavily technology or alien or something like that, and had a heart attack, and then the government deleted the tweet for him, and then since he's came back, all of a sudden now when I go look for it now, I couldn't even find anything when I Googled it. It didn't exist. I had to go to one of the secondary search engines that don't censor as much. I typically use like DuckDuckGo used to be pretty legit, but now they censor stuff too. I use Brave.com now to do searches for things that Google is censoring. And so I went to Brave and I was able to find stuff, but everything that I found was talking about how the proof of the tweet was fake and he didn't even have a heart attack and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I remember the mainstream news talking about this.
Yeah.
But when have our mainstream news ever not got something correctly? But
right.
But now it's like it only exists in the like extreme. This is like super fringe conspiracy, not even like common. Like it's very easily debunked conspiracy theory. So I'm gonna throw this out to the listeners. Do you remember it the way that I remember it, or do you remember it how it is now, in that it was always just this super fake, somebody made it up kind of story, and he didn't even have a heart attack?
I don't remember anything about this, but my memory sucks. Yeah. So that's not a surprise.
And this would have been a 2 or 3 years ago.
Antarctica.
For real. Dude, like the size of Antarctica, okay?
Yeah.
This is what's crazy to me. So tweeting from Antarctica. So Antarctica is about the size of like the United States and Mexico combined.
I was going to say it's close to double the U.S. in land area.
Yeah,
I looked it up before we started.
It's close to double the United States, and it's a little bit smaller than all of North America. So, like, if you could imagine, and the way that it spreads out from like point to point, like, and these bases are all over the place. They're not like collected in one little area.
Except for the fact that Antarctica isn't really there, and there's a wall that's made.
Right.
Yeah. There's just a wall,
right, Courtney? Isn't that what you found?
Yeah, that's the videos I've seen lately.
So So Antarctica is massive. The population of the entire continent is like 10,000 people, including all of the bases combined. It's really small.
I'm surprised it's that big.
And there's the research bases
Sure.
But so it's it's that big, it's that sparsely populated, but they've got cell service down there. And
whereas we don't while driving across the St. Hills of Nebraska.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if there's much in the way of hills in Antarctica. I don't know. Okay, hold on. Now before you go now listen to me. Shut up. Shut up. Okay? What I mean is there's an awful lot of open space between, and so the angle that gets blocked tends to be lower, I think. Is that fair to say? There's a lot of tundra. There's a lot of open space. It's not all mountainous. I don't know either. I've never been to Antarctica. I just feel like with that much ice, there's got to be a lot of it that's pretty open.
I think it's like there's 0.0000001% of the world's population has been to Antarctica. So it doesn't surprise me you haven't been there.
How is that relevant to anything we're talking about?
Because you said I haven't been there.
I have a quote from Admiral Byrd for later that...
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Someone tell me, how much of Antarctica is mountainous?
I don't know.
Well,
I know they have an active volcano there. It's actually really interesting. They have an active volcano there that has warm climate species that live there, and then everything else there is like ultra crazy, way out there cold species stuff that like they theorized didn't exist until recently.
Sounds like the second Subnautica game.
Yeah, literally.
Only a very small percentage of Antarctica is actual exposed mountain terrain, with roughly 98% of the continent covered by a permanent sheet of ice, meaning that only a tiny fraction, primarily along mountain ranges like the Transantarctic Mountains, is visible rock and not covered by ice. Essentially, less than 2% of Antarctica is considered mountainous terrain. So I was right. And I know shut your mouth.
That, like, I think 10% of it is a literal, like, dry desert valley. It's actually really intriguing, and it moves at like 1.5% per year. This dry valley moves or whatever, but it's like you can literally like be, and they have bases in it.
So why are you surprised about having cell service?
Because the population is less than like your hometown.
Yeah, but one tower can have uninterrupted signal for like
what's the tower connected
2,000 miles? Another tower somewhere farther off. I don't know, dude.
They've got to use satellites out there. I would bet,
probably.
I wouldn't imagine they have.
I bet there's clear signal down there because
you know how all the underwater wires keep getting cut allegedly by
sharks,
CCP boats.
Sure, CCP sharks.
They have these boats that are quote unquote fishermen that are Chinese, and they have been dragging their anchors for like hundreds of miles and quote unquote accidentally cutting the underwater communications cables.
That sounds like a real drag.
Wow.
Stop.
Ow, Tanner punched me.
Wow.
Now I'm getting gaslit.
He didn't actually, but I think it would have been funny if he had, so I just did it myself.
I'm gonna, but it won't be recorded as evidence. Anyway.
Well, that is. I think I should edit this episode just to make sure I don't become a victim.
Not a chance. You already are. Anyway. Yeah, so
guys, this chair is not comfortable enough for that many more tangents.
Okay. I'm sorry. Man, anyway, so
we're doing something.
We are. But yeah, Antarctica is huge, but there's just really little that we know. There's this thing. Okay, I can't remember the name of it. I wish I would have wrote this down. It just popped into my brain. But it's like there are spots where all of the ice above it has melted, and the way that it melts is it's obviously not over the land, because not all of Antarctica is landmass. There's the ice sheets that are above water, and warm water will come up and hit like specific spots and then sink back down as it cools, and it continues to do that, and it'll melt holes through the water.
I was going to save some of what I was finding as far as like the geological side of things for like to increase plausibility for some of the other stuff we'll talk about later, but I'll just get into it now.
Yeah, no. So now would be a good time. But yeah, there's one of those holes that's melted is the size of Ireland.
Yeah. Well,
that's massive. That's a big hole.
Well, okay. Did you find anything about Lake Vostok?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you find? Okay.
That's crazy.
Dude,
tell us about it.
It is. Okay, so there's a lake under Antarctica that's like triple the size of Lake Ontario. It's like the 16th largest lake in the world by like area, and I think 6th by volume. It's like 160 miles by 30 miles or something like that. It's freaking huge. And then it's under like, I think it was 4 kilometers of ice, so like around 2 miles or a little more for you Friedan people.
What?
Dude, it's massive. It's insane. And it's just under a couple miles of ice.
Oh my god.
And then apparently fairly recently, they found a river that's like, I need to look at this one because I'll give incorrect information. Come on, Google, come back to me.
If I can.
It's almost 300 miles long, this river. It's it's freaking huge. Did they name it? I don't think they named it yet because it was fairly recent.
That's what I found. Like, there's this mountain peak that has not been named. I'm like, that how there's still stuff on this earth that has not been named yet?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot going on underneath Antarctica as far as like geological and that side of things. Like there's
It's crazy.
Yeah, so there's the plausibility for an awful lot to be happening down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such as?
Well, so before we move into that.
Sorry, that segue was early. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
No, I owe you this.
There's so have you heard anything about the historical maps of Antarctica?
No.
Just by what you mentioned to me.
Yeah, let me throw this out there. When do you think Antarctica was officially discovered? What year?
Good Lord.
1340.
Well, 1492 was when
Columbus discovered America.
So you think that we discovered Antarctica before America?
I think, yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm wondering if it's like post-industrial revolution.
I mean, discovered by who?
I don't know. When was the Industrial Revolution?
Period?
Supposedly,
like
period.
1850s?
How far?
You're close.
How far from Antarctica is the southern tip of South America?
You can't see it from there. It's decently
That's
far
not
away.
what I asked.
I want to say. I want to say it's.
He's been answering questions that you're not asking.
I want to say it's. But think about how many people live in the southern tip of.
Sure, but I feel like they would have sailed south some. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that there's just nobody.
Well, let's just confine it.
I could be wrong.
But I hear what you're saying, and I can see what you're saying, and I agree, because like Polynesian.
It's like less than 1,000 miles.
Is it?
I think so. It's going to be pretty close to that based off of Google Maps that I'm looking at.
But the Polynesians did sail a lot, so it is plausible, and I would secede. I would concede. There we go.
There you go.
I would concede that there is a chance that Polynesians did discover it, or like, some of the sailing countries that like had found their way to like the
Nephilim.
Nephilim. No, the
Vikings.
That's actually a decent theory. But what's that island with the giant Maori heads? Easter Island? Is that what?
Yeah, it's the Eastern Island head.
So so that's thousands and thousands of miles in the middle of nowhere. Because I was actually looking at what it takes to get there. You have to fly to Santiago, Chile, and then it's from here, it's like an 11-hour flight to Chile, and then from Chile to the Easter Island, you have to fly another like 12-hour flight to get there.
Is that like a smaller plane though?
Flat, probably, but it is flat out in the middle of nowhere.
The nearest continent is South America, situated approximately 1,000 kilometers or 621 miles from Antarctica's mainland, which sums up.
While we're talking about geographical stuff, though, the one thing that I did find when I was looking at like what weird anomalies are going on down there is I'm wondering if they found it on. Do they do Google Earth down in Antarctica? Can you see it?
There's some places that have been. Yeah.
But anyways, in 2016, it kind of went viral that there's this very pyramid-shaped mountain peak down there, and I think it's a part of the Ellsworth mountain range, but the peak itself does not have a name. And this is why I'm like, it's so weird that like there's rivers and lakes and like, you know, different land masses and mountain peaks down there that they have not named yet. I'm like, why not? We have pictures of them. Can't we name them? But anyways, it's very, very like clear-cut pyramid looking, but apparently like the official report on that is that, you know, that was just caused by hundreds of millions of years of perfect erosion.
Oh, well, if an official report said
that's it.
that,
So,
I have an image of it pulled up.
So, of course, conspiracy theories abound of like, oh, well, guess what? There's pyramids in Antarctica too. So, and I think it's like 95% of it is covered in like frost and ice and stuff, but the parts that are peeking through look really like pleasing to the eye by how crisply it looks like a pyramid. So
kind of a somewhat connected, or it could be depending on how people think about it. Back to the geological side of things, I did also find, looking at like fossil stuff, looking a long way back, there did used to be a lot of like lush forest going on in Antarctica. It's not like it was always a frozen wasteland.
No, it's pretty much generally agreed that it actually used to be a rainforest at one point in time or another. The problem is that the arguments kind of abound of when it stopped being a rainforest, because the fact that, like, I don't know, it depends on when you believe that the ice age occurred, because basically their theory, like the common scientific theory, is that when the ice age occurred, that's when it ceased being a rainforest, because that's when the climate changed. But also there's the theories that all of the global climate is actually controlled by Antarctica, that it is what sends out the weather patterns and stuff because of its extreme cold and stuff, which makes sense. But also 15% of all of the global carbon emissions are absorbed by Antarctica, and they don't know why. Weird, right? Well, then when you look at this pyramid, they, like Courtney was saying, it's just a natural forming mountain peak, but look at that thing. That's a pyramid. I've never seen a mountain that had
perfectly sloped mountain I've seen.
Yeah, I've never seen a mountain naturally that had 4 perfect triangular sides like that. And so it makes you wonder if, let's say, just throw out a theory there, that our fun conspiracy theory that we share on here, that we like to share about how the Tower of Babel, if you hear a child laughing, our son woke up.
It's not a demon.
Yeah, you're good.
Relax.
Don't freak out. But our fun conspiracy theory of, like, if the continents were split during the Tower of Babel, what if, and because Antarctica would have been one of those places that, if it was split down there and only recently maybe became covered by snow and ice. Well, in that theory, so fun fact, going back to, I know our listeners are on edge because we didn't answer the question, but we got distracted because our son woke up, so Courtney had to run and get him. But the answer to the question is, formally, Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820. The problem with that is that we have been finding a lot of historical maps that depict a continent where Antarctica is. Some of those maps, quote unquote, allegedly depict Antarctica without any ice. It like maps out the actual continent of Antarctica. And one of the most controversial of those is the Piri Reis map, which that one is from the 1500s. So as early as the 1500s, maps, and now the theory is that a lot of these maps that were Piri Reis, and they've actually found a couple before that now that are even older, that date back to like way early, like closer to like Jesus times. And the theory is that they're just copies of maps that had already existed by a previous civilization that had mapped them out. Well, that makes you think that if like technology was that good back then, that the Tower of Babel was created, and the technology was so good that God was like, no, I can't allow these guys to continue like this. Otherwise they will surely find, they won't be able to, or they'll be able to do anything that they want to or whatever. Technology was that good. It makes you wonder if back then the technology was so good that humans were literally discovering stuff, Tower of Babel would have, now whether or not, maybe the Tower of Babel wasn't where the continents got split. Maybe the continents had been split because of the flood. And if the continents were split because of the flood, then, and this is a new theory of mine, that the continents were split because of the flood. And then post flood is when the ice age would have happened, because the conditions to create an ice age have to be, I think it's really warm ocean water and really cold atmosphere.
Yeah.
Well, a giant flood of hot water from inside the Earth's crust would be a good way for there to be hot ocean and cold atmosphere.
Yeah.
And so it triggered an ice age. And then pre-flood, so that would have been all of the Nephilim and all of that would have been pre-flood. All of that extra legit sweet technology would have been pre-flood. So it's, in theory, the fact that there's pyramids on all of these continents. It could be that there's pyramids on Antarctica. Flood happens, continents are split, then the ice age occurs, and then in the post-ice age, the Tower of Babel occurs, and God then sends the people to all of the different continents that had split because of the flood. But that that had happened while the Earth was flooded, because the tectonic plates would have basically been like floating around at that point, because maybe God split the tectonic plates in order to bring the water up, and as they came up, they're kind of almost like on free form moving, and then they kind of spread, and God allowed that to happen because he knew eventually he was going to have to separate the people, and so then he literally just separated the people onto the different continents, other than Antarctica, because that would have been messed up. Imagine being the tribe that got stuck on Antarctica.
I mean, yeah.
But
No
that's
land bridge.
and that kind of, yeah.
Like, it's not like
the land
Alaska.
bridge. Right.
You can just wander over to Siberia.
But if the ice age was bad enough, you could, your theory of how close, not your theory, because the 600 and whatever miles. Well, it's not a theory. You just found the the factual evidence that it is closer. And so if it is only 600 and whatever miles, I don't know if ice age could cover 600 miles, but in theory. But the last thing that, like, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with Antarctica, and honestly, I want to throw this out there before I get into this, just because it's not really Antarctica, but it is South America, and it's interesting, and I don't think we have enough for a full episode. But there was these Brazilian indigenous from the Amazon. They were brought into America, and just cultural exchange, kind of exchanging like cultures and stuff. And they were talking, and the interpreter, they were trying to ask them if they've ever seen aliens. And the indigenous man from Amazon was like, we don't, there's like, the term interpreter is like, there's no word for that or whatever. And, but anyway, long story short, they show him a picture of a gray, well, like our depiction of gray aliens. And this, indigenous Brazilian from the Amazon was like, oh, no. That's, we call them, they're basically call them like big ants who come from the earth, and they will take your spirit underground. So he recognizes aliens, gray aliens, as having been that they're an actual thing that they're familiar with, but instead of it being space, it's underground. For me, that just leads credence to kind of what Father Carlos Martins talks about, how the aliens will become, or not aliens, the aliens are demons, and they will become whatever is culturally relevant. Well, in America, space and stuff is really relevant, but to the Amazon indigenous, the ground would be more relevant to them.
Big ants. And
so, and creatures. And so that's how they terrorize the indigenous.
Interesting.
But they're also, that's, the South American is where the Peruvian face peelers are. And my theory of that is they were the mustache man's Nazguls from Germany.
I think predators are real.
You what?
Ashley and I watched Predator last night. She'd never actually watched that. The original one, the OG. 1987. Schwarzenegger. Carl Weathers.
Nice.
Phenomenal. Holds up really well.
It does, actually. Really well.
I love that movie.
But yeah, the the Peruvian face peelers would be kind of in that same vein. Yeah, but my theory is that they basically had 100 years worth of research. Like, look at what they did in like 10, 20 years of just unhindered, unethical research. Imagine what they did with another 100 if they continue, not 100, but you know what I mean, another 70 years unedited in South America. Well, the Mustache Man was super obsessed with things that were related to like the Nephilim. Obsessed. And there's things that like they found in like Russia and stuff that are like underground. They're basically almost like underground pyramids. Like they have the same kind of chamber makeup as the pyramids of Giza, but it's underground instead of above ground. And they have the same kind of chamber setup, and so there's theories about what it was. Well, the Mustache Men from Germany actually found this in Russia and had discovered it because they searched and looked for everything that had to do with that.
Yeah.
And it's well known that Mustache Man was flat out obsessed with Antarctica.
Yeah. Do you think they're... So...
Why?
Let me ask you this. Do you think the thing related to that is there? Do you think there's a...
Well, there's the theory that they had a submarine base there. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
I wouldn't either.
Because if we were building bases there at that time, and that kind of segues into when I get to him, but Admiral Byrd, because he was one of the main ones doing it for America. But if America was building bases down there and we weren't, the reason we were building bases was because there was a handful of people who were obsessed.
Yeah.
Now imagine the leader of America being obsessed with it. You almost have to guarantee.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how one of Admiral Byrd's, and we'll get to talking about Admiral Byrd, but one of the bases that they had created.
Yeah. Well, I think you were saying after him, Byrd Station. I was curious what people had to say about it in like forums, and somebody asked in the Antarctica subreddit and was just like, hey, there's a lot of questions about what's there. There's some wild theories. What do people who live there and work there think about it? And one of the top replies was a guy that works fairly near that, and he's like, I know people, straight up know people. He didn't say that, but he said, I have it on good authority from people that have been in Byrd Station. Like what's going on in there, and basically that it's still there, but it's buried under friggin' 50 feet of snow and ice. Right. And that was built in the 60s.
Yeah.
So
50 feet of snow and ice.
60 years, 50 to 60 feet of snow and ice on top of it.
Yeah.
You add another 20 years to that. 80. I mean, you don't know what's down there. Everybody's like, well, nothing. It's like anything that would have been there at that time is buried. Like,
yeah. And
not visible.
And the only way we would be able to find it is if we use ground penetrating radar on it. And when you think of the vast size of Antarctica,
oh, dude,
that'd be like trying to, and even if it was let's say it was on the coast, but if it's a submarine, in theory, there's places where if there's enough space, they could have gone under the ice and built up.
Well, yeah, and even if, like, aside from just, like, already having been buried by that much more, imagine they dug down a bit before they started.
Really? Yeah, let's say they did that.
But yeah, you want to talk about trying to find a friggin' research station or submarine station or whatever in Alaska using ground penetrating radar. Think friggin' needle in a haystack if the haystack was the size of Nebraska.
Right. That's because even if you're just talking shoreline, that's America and Mexico combined shoreline. And think about, how many giant cities we have on those shorelines.
Yeah. Well,
how the population, like, what is it in both countries combined? It's like 99% of people live on the coast or something like that. Yeah. Like, it's like a ridiculous, maybe not that high, but it's a really astonishing high number. So let's just say
navigating that coastline too.
Right. Let's say it's just the coastline, but in a little bit.
Yeah.
You could still, if it was built in a place that had heavy snow movement. Yeah. Even if it's not heavy snowfall, but heavy snow movement. And you throw 60 years on top of that, it's buried. There was when Admiral Byrd just recently, I was watching this documentary where they had come across an iceberg, and as they got closer to the iceberg, there was like a base like attached to the iceberg.
Yeah.
And they were like, what the heck? And so they like try to look at this like structure, and it's like a wood structure built into an iceberg. And it's like, so their theory was it could have been part of one of Admiral Byrd's original like building spots or whatever, but it could have been anything. It could have been somebody building into the iceberg. Like there's so many different things that it could have been. But they were trying to match it up with the ice sheets and to figure out if it could have come from the same spot. And there was a big, long story, but it's just crazy because, just Admiral Byrd was obsessed. And if that one man who wasn't that high in our military during that time could have done as much as he did, imagine how much more Mustache Man did,
Yeah.
And they also relocated to South America. All of the people from his posse relocated in the hundreds of thousands to South America. Even if they didn't do it during the World War II, who's to say that they didn't? That was a weird noise.
Yes, it was.
Who's to say that they didn't do it post World War II? Maybe as technology has gotten more advanced, as they spent more money, they've built maybe more obscure bases that. But anyway,
Potsy.
I think that's a very, very tangible. Yeah.
Potsy sign.
That's the Potsy signs. I think that's a very tangible conspiracy theory. But Admiral Byrd, so to kind of get to him, Admiral Byrd was an interesting man. Do you know much about Admiral Byrd?
No, I know he has a friggin' base named after him in Antarctica.
Well, Admiral Byrd as a person, he was a legend in the history of America and Antarctic exploration and in our military. Okay, so Admiral Byrd, to give you an idea of who this dude was. So he was awarded the Naval Aviator Badge, the Medal of Honor, the Navy Cross, the Navy Distinguished Service Medal, Legion of Merit, and I'll keep talking, and there's all the way down to the 8th row, the Commander of the Order of the Aviz, the Officer Order of Saint Maurice and Lazara, Officer. So this dude's look at his decorated badge. Like, he is a decorated. Okay,
looks like North Korea's uniforms, but real.
Yeah, exactly. So he's he likes the idea of being the first. So he wanted to be the first to fly over the North Pole. And they had some technical difficulties and they screwed up. And he's like, well, if I can't be the North Pole, I'll be the South Pole. Long story short, he becomes the first person to fly over the South Pole. But he doesn't end there. And his obsession with Antarctica grows. And he's obsessed with, quote unquote, finding what's beyond the pole, is kind of what he's quoted as saying. And this dude set up some of the bases that are still there that are used today were bases that he had built way back in the day, and they've just been advanced and built and continued. And then some of them have been, they neglected the original base, so they built right next to it something more advanced. And some of those bases you could still access up until like the late 90s, I think. And so, but then they got buried by, again, like you said, too much snow, and now they're almost impossible. It's dangerous to get into them, all this other stuff. But anyway, so this dude is obsessed. And now he supposedly had a journal in which he shared all of his accounts of South America, or not South America, of Antarctica. And at one point in time, it was quoted that he said that he can't talk about everything he found, basically. And just to kind of give this super long conspiracy theory a little bit shorter, it's theorized, or it is rumored, or the evidence of it is hard to find. And the problem with finding any information on this is that I talked to some people that, and I looked up some stuff about it as well, that it has all of a sudden become really difficult to find actual information on all of this. In 2017, a book came out, and the book is the main primary thing that you can find now, because it was in print, that basically shared all of his journal, basically just shared what he had journaled. And but yeah, I even found that and this is a very as common of a conspiracy theory as like the pyramids being in Antarctica. But when you Google it, you find nothing. When you look at his Wikipedia page, there's nothing about the conspiracy theories. Name one other, usually they even put it in, or I guess it's all user, but you're telling me nobody has added to his page that even added it as a conspiracy theory, say that there's conspiracy theories that he did this, but there's no factual evidence, something like that. No, it's just deleted. And talking to some people who have researched this and have been looking in this for a while, that for the last 10 years, it has progressively gotten harder and harder to find the information about this, which is nuts to me. So I had to go to Brave and did the search engine on Brave. And now And I want to add that Brave.com it's not a sketchy search engine. It's just a search engine that doesn't filter things that are politically charged, or like it's a more true search engine. So it's actually just it's finding it and letting you see what it found.
Right.
Google finds it and then reorganizes it, and or either omits it or puts it so deep that like you don't get to page 400 in order to find it.
Yeah.
And Google, it's this, and that's not a conspiracy theory. Google does reorganize their search results.
Yeah.
And if you pay Google enough money, you can guarantee that your search result is number one.
Yeah.
And so you just aren't going to find this stuff Googling it. Like I got to like page 5 before I found anything about it. And it was just like a little blurb, and then that was it. And so I gave up and I looked on Brave, and right off the bat on Brave, I found a couple things, but even that, I had to really dig to find the information. But in most of the sources I found were from videos or podcasts or articles that are like 10 years old or older. It's nuts. But now you can take that information, do what you will with it, whether that means that it's just lost popularity or if there's some intentional scrubbing going on or what. But so the theory is that, and just kind of make it short, that basically Admiral Byrd found an entrance to, now flat earthers would say that he found an entrance past the ice wall, but other people say that, and I think according to Admiral Byrd's notes, is that he found a hole that took him into inner Earth, and that there were civilizations inside of that hole on the inner Earth, and that civilization was like super duper duper trooper advanced. So Admiral Byrd basically says that he found this advanced civilization, and they were like, you're not supposed to know about us. What are you doing here? And he's like, just don't kill us, like whatever. And so they stay there for like a long time, supposedly. Eventually they're like, we got to go back. We got to go back to our lives. And they're basically like, okay, but you don't tell anybody about us. And they were like, okay, we won't tell anybody. And then this civilization like dropped them off ready to go on their ship, full of fuel, good to go. Everything was like in mint condition. And then they sailed back or whatever. Now, don't quote me on the years thing. This is just me
curious.
Kind of recalling back from the podcast I had listened to.
I'm just curious if
but
it's
it was
verifiable, like how long he was not present with civilization.
I'm not sure.
To that.
Like I said, unfortunately, this is like impossible to find. Yeah. And I'm not even talking like, oh, you had to look on like a sketchy website to find it. No, I mean like I couldn't find it. There was like nothing.
Weird.
It's like been scrubbed. And so it's all hearsay at this point of, I've seen the articles kind of thing. And so I'm trusting people that 10 years ago that this was like a lot more publicized kind of thing. Yeah. So he supposedly finds a hole, and now we're talking about those holes that exist. So from the sky, I wonder if one of those holes would look like just another one of the marine holes or whatever. Yeah. The water hole. You know what I'm talking about. The thing we talked about earlier. Yeah. But so yeah, they followed this hole in, and there was a civilization there that he explained that they had basically like anti-gravitic, and that's been a topic all of a sudden lately. But he had found, and they had anti-gravitic vehicles there that could float and all that, and didn't use energy and just like existed. And that's all of a sudden become a topic because of the dude who the Tesla in front, or not the truck Cyber in front of Trump Tower.
The silver Dorito.
Yeah,
spicy silver Dorito.
He made a spicy silver Dorito and delivered it.
Random side note on that. Did you see Brandon Herrera posted a video on that?
No, I haven't.
Conspiracy on that. So he fired a Desert Eagle inside a 50 AE Desert Eagle inside his own Cybertruck.
Oh yeah,
and there was no visible muzzle flash. So that is plausible.
Wow.
I did not see that coming. I would have thought that there'd be a pretty good fireball at the end of a Desert Eagle that you would be able to see inside a Cybertruck, but there was not.
That's crazy.
So we talked about that. I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but we talked about that. And so I figured I'd give you a quick update. I finally watched that video yesterday or the day before.
I'll have to watch that. But so kind of back to Admiral Byrd, I have a conspiracy theory about Admiral Byrd.
Okay.
So post-flood, there's the Nephilim that it talks about. The Canaanites were Nephilim. And there's this track where once they were driven out of the region, they migrated, the Nephilim, the giants, migrated, made their way up to Europe, and then eventually up to Scandinavia, and then eventually over to America. And there's tales from all of those regions about the Nephilim. They're not Nephilim, but giants.
Yeah.
And in America, there's Native American tales of the giants. And what if, and they're driven out, and it's like they're driven out by the humans in the region. And what if these Nephilim just eventually migrated and found their way and decided, you know what, there's no people on Antarctica, and we'll just go there.
They just swam from South America because it's only 600 miles.
Well, they were technologically advanced. They'd have flown there in their
It's a stupid joke.
antigravitic.
Okay, I'll say it. It was a stupid joke. Yes. I hear, yeah. So they flew or sailed or whatever.
I wonder if anybody has swam from, it'd be too cold, right?
Yeah.
Southern Ocean's
and
like super cold.
600 miles for a human.
But yeah, so what if the Nephilim ended up landing and finding their way into Antarctica, and that's why Hitler...
Nobody likes us. We're just going to go dig a hole in the ice and live underground.
Yeah. But what if that's why Mustache Man was so obsessed, was because he traced where they went and found out that they made their way into South America, and then became obsessed with Antarctica because they made their way to Antarctica.
I want to team up with the Nephilim to overthrow the world. That's a compelling theory.
Or at the very least, he was looking for their technology.
Right.
Because, he was obsessed with it. Now,
that would make a good Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, for real.
Make
a fun movie.
There was always the Nazguls looking for the key to
that would be a fun one.
Power.
Instead of in the Middle East,
that'd be way better than the friggin' Antikythera mechanism.
Right. Now, the practical side of it, though, is the theory. And we'll end on the most common conspiracy theory is. So my question, and I legitimately question this: why is it that Russia, America, and at the time like Japan, like all of these countries that are like many of them at odds with each other, all agree on one thing, one single solitary thing, and that is nobody owns and nobody can own Antarctica. Why is that the one thing that they're all just like, yeah, we're not gonna test that. We're just good. Like so much so to that, like, did you see when Mr. Beast went to Antarctica?
No.
So Mr. Beast went to Antarctica, and the regulations are so strict that they dug a hole and somebody had to stay in it overnight or something like that. When they left, they had to fill in the hole, and like it had to be flattened out. Like it was that strict.
Really?
And so you're telling me that all of a sudden we're literally like at odds with Russia right now, and we're just like, yeah, no, we're good. We actually agree. And this place, which is the most rich in resources continent in the world right now, both full of meteorites. It's like they found like 300 tons of meteorites in Antarctica. It's a ridiculous amount of number. It's just a ridiculous amount of meteorites. But there's the ancient rainforest and stuff like that. So that's got to be coal, fuel, gas. So all of these natural resources that this continent is just rich in. And Russia and the CCP aren't just like, yeah, no, we're going to take that over. Instead, the CCP, we're literally fighting like a Cold War style battle over Taiwan.
Yeah.
And you're telling me they're not like, yeah, we're just going to take over Antarctica right now. But we agree. None of us own it. Why? It's weird, right?
It is weird.
But what if it simply is just because the resources, and what if that was why Mustache Man was obsessed with it, was just because it is really rich in resources, and so he was just looking for
I don't think that tracks with his personality.
I agree.
I don't think that tracks with the way that he did things at all.
The things he obsessed over weren't resources. The things he obsessed, and I'm talking obsessed over.
Yeah.
The things he obsessed over were artifacts,
Cult-related,
Nephilim,
cult-adjacent things.
Yeah. Or occultish. Yeah. Cult or occultish. Yeah.
Yep.
One or the other, or all the above.
That's why there's an entire 4-game series about him having a zombie army that takes over.
Literally. Right.
You're fighting that.
Yeah. But Antarctica, man. It's one of those.
You don't have to worry about me going down there and taking over because I don't like winter here.
Dude.
It was cold the last couple days and I don't need it. I don't need any more of that in my life.
Well, but the thing about if you do live down there, most people who live down there rarely leave the building.
Yeah.
Only the researchers leave the building. Most of the people that live down there are not the researchers.
Yeah, I don't really vibe with that either.
Most of the
inside all the time.
And that's my problem. I don't think I could put up with only being inside for as long a period as they're inside.
Oh, and same reason I can't deal with Alaska is just because, bro, 24 hours of sunlight, cool. But there's also the same thing on the flip side where it's 24 hours of dark. And I don't vibe with that.
And that's when the vampires come out.
Is that our next episode?
Yep. Did you ever see that horror movie, 30 Days a Night?
No.
It was about...
I don't even watch horror movies.
It was about when the 30 Days of Darkness hit Alaska, that they have old wives' tales or whatever about the vampires coming to attack or whatever. So it's basically a movie on that. It's interesting. But anyway, that is all I have about Antarctica. All right, we'll close on this. Admiral Byrd, this guy, he was obsessed about Antarctica.
We covered that, I think.
Mustache Man was obsessed about Africa.
Yep.
Did you know that Admiral Byrd was a Freemason?
No, I did not know that.
Most of the people who went on the trip, Freemasons.
Interesting.
Why were they so obsessed with Africa? Why, bro? I have said Africa like 5 times. Why were they so
that's
obsessed?
the first time you've done that.
Is it?
This episode.
I feel like I keep messing it up. Why were Why were the Freemasons so obsessed with Antarctica? Makes you wonder, right?
It sure does. A lot of things make me wonder.
The Freemasons.
You make me wonder.
Freemasons tend to have a lot of ties with things like that, and NASA, and
there's another topic.
Buzz
Bada bing, bada boom.
Isn't Buzz Aldrin
Buzz Aldrin? Butts Aldrin.
Butts Aldrin.
I bless the rains in Antarctica.
We're seeing a theme here. And this isn't even something I researched ahead of time. We're seeing a theme here, Phil. Why are the
Freemasons?
Why are the Freemasons obsessed with Antarctica? Why was Mustache Man?
I don't know.
Why are they both basically the same thing?
I don't know. More research required.
Maybe there's something to this.
We might be back to this topic.
Conspiracy theory. I'd like to.
Do a deep dive.
We
do a whole lot of shallow, broad coverings. We got to get some deep dives.
We've got a handful of deep dives, yeah. And I do like the deep dives.
All right.
Well, with that, NASA's budget is $25.4 billion. I just want to put that out there again.
Go to Antarctica and tell me what you find that's not ice.
Yeah, if you're from Antarctica or you've been to Antarctica and you listen to this show.
Yo, I want some Antarctica listeners.
Yeah.
I want some South Pole BAs.
Send me a meteorite.
Yeah, dude.
While you're at it.
Real.
They could pay for the show. Anyway, all right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys are amazing.
Love y'all. Get in the Discord.
Yeah, dude. Get in the Discord. Follow us on all the other platforms. And interact with us. You guys are amazing. Let me know you listen. If I don't know that you listen to my show and you know me personally, let me know you listen. It's fun to have those conversations. Okay, bye.
In the ancient days of giants, when the earth was wild and free, a creature roamed the valleys, cloaked in mystery. Is he born of angels' blood and man, a Nephilim so tall, or a shadow of the fallen, yet heeding the Maker's call? He's a biblically accurate Bigfoot, with a lineage from the skies. Not a myth or legend, but a truth that never dies. Is he a remnant of the Nephilim, a Titan standing tall? Or does he have the word of